And where am I at? There we are. Okay, well, I'm keeping that in there too. God damn. This is what happens when we're gone for a week, guys. Welcome back to Rogue Actions, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday. So happy to see you. We have Rogue Actions back from the Thanksgiving break. Shawka, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was really good. Not only was the food good and the family was good, but I took a total 12-day break from content creation across the board. It was very, very refreshing. So good to be back. Excited for the remainder of December. December is a crazy month for me with concerts and all that stuff. So I'm ready to get on to the next break. Let's go.
I'm ready for this year to end.
Yeah.
Screw 2024. I'm ready for 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, you know the drill. 3 topics over here. 3 topics on Shawka. I'm remembering conscious topics. 3 topics over here. 3 topics over on Shawka's channel. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff over on both channels so you get the full story. We got some good stuff to discuss for you today. Starting with, of course, the mini meme of the week. Imperial Stormtrooper. The difference between an Imperial Stormtrooper and a metric Stormtrooper.
My only issue with this is that I can't see the one on the right. Like, I can see like measuring it in by like bananas or maybe shoes, but I don't understand that CM thing that comes after that.
Centimeters?
I'm American. Yeah, I'm American. I don't know what that is.
I lived in Europe for 4 years. I'm used to it, but I don't know why you would ever use the metric Stormtrooper. I get it. I get the whole Imperial metrics thing. I just don't know why you would ever use a metric. Imperial is so much better. Blame the Canadians. Blame Ricky P. This week's mini meme goes out to Pills. Shout out to Mall Pills for the meme submission. If you guys think you have a better meme, go into my Discord, go into the meme submission channel, put in your meme. Me and Shawka will vote on it every single week prior to recording, and we'll shout out the winner there. Alrighty. So moving on from this, the assault battles. So a couple of weeks ago or so, this was one of the topics we covered here on Rogue Actions. Myself and Shawka, and we were pretty heated about it. This was not a good change that we liked from CG. They came out and they were like, "Hey, we just have so many assault battles. We don't really know what to do with them, so we're just going to start phasing out the old ones." And for very many reasons, we were like, "That's not a good idea." Mainly like investment, because at some point. Right now, it's okay, maybe, because you're phasing out older ones that a lot of people have. But what happens when you take Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi to Relic 9, and then they phase out that one? But now you just have 2 Relic 9s sitting there and not getting really any use as far as what they ideally were taken up to Relic 9 for. So we were like, that was a bad idea. Apparently, the community agreed with that, and there was a lot of revolting against that with CG. So CG came back out and says, starting in December, we're making an update. Starting in December, all 9 assault battles will return with an altered cadence schedule. It's going to be first 4 Wednesdays and Saturdays of the month with an additional assault battle first Monday of every month. And then, obviously holidays is going to be an increased flow of it as well. So I like this approach a lot better. You have 9 different ones. I'll never say no to essentially free rewards, but you have 9 of them. You can easily space that out without phasing them out completely.
I don't use the word free rewards. They're not free rewards. People invest to get those rewards.
Sure. Yeah. Sure, but they're all simmable now, so it's like no work.
But people have put the time in. They've invested the time. They've invested the resources. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we talked about, like this is probably the single number one reason we had a ton of people quit the game. Yes, people didn't like the episode changes and all that stuff, which we'll get to later, but this was probably the number one reason. When you start taking away content that people have invested in, they're going to not play your game, because there's just no guarantee that they're not going to do it down the road again. Which this overall, this is a great change. Like we as a community won on this matter. But, and I hate using that language because they can change whenever they want to, and you can see the language indicates that, because they say, while we have 9 assault battles, this is how our schedule will be. They're currently exploring options on how to handle the cadence when more events become available.
Yeah.
Like, it's simple. Just add more events that are simmable. Don't take away the stuff that we have invested in. Like I don't understand why that part of the statement is even in there. It's so freaking obvious, the solution to this. I get that they don't want to have too many events, but when they're simmable, there's not too many events. Like, if they weren't simmable, yeah, we'd be writing about how many there are. But they're simmable. It's like, why not do that? When something is old and it is no longer relevant, just make it simmable. People have put in the time and the investment into that event. They should be rewarded for that, and make it just simmable moving forward. Like, this shouldn't even be a discussion. It just shouldn't be.
Right.
Kudos to them again for changing it the right way, but they absolutely had to have their arm twisted to make this change. This was not something that they were as willing to do like the episode changes, which we'll talk about later. They were, I think, more willing to do that stuff. This we had to twist their arms on.
Well, so the Duel of the Fates one, I personally just took Qui-Gon and Padawan Kenobi up to Relic 9. So I'm ready. As soon as this comes back out, I'm ready for it. But that's a good point that you bring up with the, while we have the 9 assault battles, this is how the schedule is going to be, because that, as with everything else, subject to change. But again, I would understand, hey, if they weren't simmable, why we don't want to crowd the game with a whole bunch of stuff. But everything's simmable. So if you have 10, 11, 12, 15 assault battles, if 2 have to be on the same day, so what? We're just going to sim it.
It's not a big time commitment.
It takes, what, 2 minutes to sim an entire assault battle?
No,
if that. Exactly.
It's like 30 seconds, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right?
That is not the time commitment in this game.
No.
The time commitment is things like your freaking raid.
Raid, TB, TW, GAC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the time commitments.
Absolutely.
Not simmable events.
Yeah, this was a positive change for me.
Yes.
Maybe depending on that wording right there, we'll see if that continues to be a positive change. But for now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this change, in my opinion.
I also want to point out, so in terms of schedule of these releases, so this came about 2 weeks before the episode changes announcement. And I read between the lines that there is a significant change in tone between this release and the release they did for the episode changes. This one was not apologetic at all. And it was just like, okay, we're going to do what you're forcing us to do, but we're going to change it in the future. Versus the episode change one came out and they were like, we're really sorry, guys. Because I think during those 2 weeks, they realized everyone and their freaking uncle was leaving the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And they can see those metrics. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was... It's unfortunate that we had to twist their arm for this, but I'm super glad that they did, because they could have just... They could have just left it as it was, and people would have just rioted even more.
They would have lost a lot of revenue.
Lost a lot more people. That being said, now another part that we did want to go over. It's not tying to Assault Battle specifically, but the community milestone event. It's still a very good thing that they're doing. So this community milestone event is updated as of the 6th of December, so a couple days ago. Obviously, they don't work on weekends, so they're not keeping full track. But you can kind of see it right here, but it's at 78% out of the total finish. This is for Conquest Energy. So mainly, whether or not we hit the max rewards on this one, who knows at this point. We might not. It's whatever. What I kind of wanted to see was more of, is this something that should be continued in the future? Whether it's for Conquest, Light Side, Dark Side, Cantina Energy, whatever. Right. What type of rewards could they do? Is this only something that's tied to Conquest? What are some thoughts, Shawka? What would you like to see this in the future?
I think this is a significant improvement over what they have done in the past. So if you guys remember, the previous ones were like, we're going to reveal an ability of a character that you know is coming out. And literally by the end of the event, they were going to reveal the abilities anyway. So, like, there was absolutely no gain in us doing these things before. Versus this, like, these rewards are actually worthwhile. I mean, 20 shards is a significant amount for the newest Conquest character. And same thing's true. I know that, like, most endgame players are probably going to already have these characters at 7 stars, but if you're a mid-game player, you may not have Malicos or DTMG, things like that. Like, these are very significant rewards that I think the community will be much more interested in attaining. Now, my one complaint with this is that there's a lack of transparency on how this is tracked. Like, I'm not saying that I don't trust Meathead or that he's lying or anything like that, but I think if this is going to be something they continue in the future, which I think they should, I think this is a really good thing. I think it's a really not only good thing for the community, but I think this is good PR for CG too. But what they need to do then is just create something that has a live tracker in the game. So that way it's not Meathead randomly updating the numbers. We can see it live at any point in time, and we know that, okay, that actually is progressing correctly. Because here's a tinfoil hat thing. So in my guild, somebody posted one of these screenshots and they were like, it's funny that it's so close on Friday and they're saying that we're coming up short, but you watch magically on Monday morning, we're going to hit the number. Like, it's just kind of like they're saying that basically they're trying to motivate us to spend more Conquest energy because we're not there yet, but we're close. And while I don't know that that's necessarily true, it's a legitimate point because we don't actually see a real-time metric of this amount, where if they put that in, that eliminates all of that discussion, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, we're still trusting them to some degree that their real-time metric is accurate, but, you know, regardless, I think that's being pretty nitpicky. I think this is absolutely the way to do this moving forward. I think the question becomes, what do you do during non-Conquest weeks? I wouldn't hate seeing them do, you know, just like regular energy, for instance. And if you spend a certain amount of regular energy, then you get maybe bonus shards of the new marquee characters that are coming out, something like that. It doesn't have to be a lot. It could be just like 5, you know, like for instance, this past episode, it could be 5 of Huyang, 5 of Hera, and then maybe 5 of the 3 Remnant characters that are a requirement as well. Like, I think that's still, it's a nice little addition. It's a nice little motivation over the course of 2 weeks. It's not going to really cost them a whole lot. 5 shards of those characters isn't a big deal. So, but it's enough that people are really like, oh yeah, that'd be nice if we can get that.
Yeah. Well, and so the 20 shards, right? It's not so much of a, obviously, like an impact to the higher end. I'm going to get, you know, a 7-star Dark Side Ray with ease, especially with how easy this Conquest is. And I think a lot of players are going to get 7-star Ray a lot easier than normal because it's a significantly easier Conquest. Even if you don't have the characters, you're able to cheese a lot of the feats, which makes it just super simple. But you look at like this, a lot of people take the 2 red 1 gold approach to Conquest. Well, by doing so, and by you know, even if you're not getting the pass or the pass plus, you're just buying the shards out of the store. Well, by getting this, that saves you that, which then you can use to turn around and buy impulse detectors, signal data, gear, shards of previous Conquest characters. So that this right here is huge, even if you're just gonna even if you're not, you know, getting them 7-star and you would normally get them 7-star through other means. This now frees up shard shop currency. Plus, they're also giving you 400 credits as well. So that's even more currency to spend on other things. So it's a huge win all around, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
And yeah, definitely doing something like this for it doesn't have to be tied to conquest, doesn't have to be tied to anything specific. Just, hey, we're doing another community milestone event. Here you go. And this is what it is. Spend energy, spend whatever.
Even if they only did this once a month and it was just for conquest, I still think that's a nice thing. It's about making the rewards relevant to the player base. That's the key thing. The initial things that they were doing were not relevant at all.
Right.
Versus this is a big reward. Like, it's a really, really nice bonus. So
absolutely. Guys, let us know down in the comments below what you guys think about both the assault battle changes and the community milestone event. Is that something you'd like to see come back to the game in the future? What type of rewards would you like to see them include in that? Do you think the assault battle changes are good? Let us know down in the comments below. Love to hear from you. All right, next up, we do have the episode update. Now, this is huge. This is massive news. This came out about 3 days ago or so. And while we did criticize a lot about the previous episode update that came out, and we were like, look, I said it myself, it's a compliment sandwich. It looks good until you kind of break it apart and you're like, there's a lot of bad in there. This is largely good. I'm struggling to find anything negative in this. So for episode 2, currently we're on episode 1, just for clarification, but for episode 2, with the Bad Batch stuff coming out, they're increasing the currency cap from 30,000 to 100,000. They're gonna reduce the amount of milestone points that are needed to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and then 5,000 for every other milestones. I don't know what changes they're at right now, but reducing the amount that's required makes all players able to hit that sooner, which, especially for free to play, while I do recommend buying the pass because I do see it as being beneficial, if you're going to be free, this allows you to hit those goals earlier, which is going to be massive, giving you those rewards.
It's not only earlier, you'll get further as well, because you're basically saving 10,000 points through this new thing. So you're going to move 2 levels further than you would have before. I wouldn't be shocked, because we've done, and again, we haven't crunched numbers officially yet, but the trend that we're seeing right now is that free to play are significantly further behind than anyone that has put any money into it, whether it be the pass or the characters. And I would tend to question, based on where we were at and the fact that this is going to be ending soon, I'd question whether free to play actually can max out this track without these changes. I think these changes are going to help significantly with that.
Yes. Yeah. I do question that as well. I think we said free to play. We know people that are only at around 30 or so.
Yeah. So as of Friday, we're recording this on Sunday, but as of Friday, when we were in our stream, we got a couple people in the community that are doing complete free to play tracks. So we were asking them about their progress. Pretty much everybody that was free to play was around level 30, 31, something like that, versus anyone that had done a pass or characters or both was at 50 at the beginning of the week. Like, it's a significant difference between the free to play and the dolphin and above levels.
Yeah. Now with the quest changes, I love this. I love this change.
Yeah, this is huge.
For example, the quest to complete 5 Galactic Challenge feats will now appear a day before the new GC starts instead of the same day, letting players who complete the GC immediately when it starts complete the episode quest without waiting another 3 to 4 days for another GC to start. That right there.
You called this.
Exactly. I literally called this. What? I think 2 weeks ago, or no, it was, I think last week. I had a little bit of a rage moment about this because because I fell into this bracket of I did all my stuff the same day as soon as it came out, and then because of the timing, I had to wait. And again, it wasn't an issue of waiting. I'm going to get the rewards anyways. It was the fact that I shouldn't have to wait. I shouldn't be punished by doing things earlier than by doing things later, right?
Yep.
The reward is that, you know, let's say this didn't apply to me, but let's say you're one of those that by doing the conquest under the old system, by doing the Galactic Challenge feats later, that gave you the episode points enough to buy an Omicron, which then gave you enough points to apply an Omicron before a TW or a TB or a GAC that you were really wanting to use, versus someone like me who did all the feats the day, the day of in the morning. Then they announced those that's a requirement to do 5 GC feats, and now you're missing out on Omicron that you could have applied in before a lock-in or something like that, right? I'm using that as a broad example, but it's things like that. I feel like that'd be a punishment. Yes, I'll ultimately get it, but that's not the point. So this is a massive change, and I'm super appreciative. It's almost like they watched Rogue Actions and were like, yeah, that makes no sense. Let's make a change.
I wouldn't be surprised, because I that's one complaint I did not hear from very many people, because so many people don't do them early. Like they're at work, or like for me, I don't do a lot of the stuff. I go in and just spend my energy in the morning, and that's it. And I think a lot of people do the same thing, unless you're like in Europe or something like that, where it drops during your day, that kind of thing. But I think most people weren't complaining about that because they weren't doing it in the morning like you were. So, but it's an excellent point.
Right.
And the next thing applies to that as well, even though we're not that crazy.
Another example is to earn is the quest that earn 10 key cards in Conquest will appear on the day Conquest starts instead of the second day. So you maniacs who reach Red Box on day 1 won't have to eke out a few more key cards on day 2. I don't know anybody that read crates on day 1.
There are people that do it,
but apparently there are people that do it.
It's crazy.
That's not me. It takes me about 4 or 5 days easily to red crate. I think I red crated on Saturday. And it launched on Monday. So what, 5 days?
Yeah, I usually do Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah,
depending on the feats.
Yeah, and especially with this conquest, that was super easy to do. Red crate on day 1, you can't do it, but that's a good change. The recent change for increasing the EP reward from 300 to 350 for each daily quest will also persist into episode 2. That's really good. Shipments. This is another big one because I've run into this issue too. Especially with the cap, I was having to buy things. I had 3,000 of
useless stuff, just
to get under the cap so that I could get the shipment points to get back to the cap.
Same thing.
And so this one,
I'm sitting with the 12,000 track bonus. I can't claim it because I'm at max right now. And even actually, so I'm getting the bonus crate over and over again, and I'm gonna get to the point where I have to stop claiming that because I'm gonna be too high. Like I've spent everything I can in the stupid store.
Yep,
it's the dumbest thing ever.
Well, and with that change that they're bringing out, 30,000 cap to 100,000 cap, that's gonna be huge as well. But they're adding more shipments into the shipment tab. So they're gonna have one additional shipment containing 2 more Amis. That is beautiful. That is massive. Awesome right there. And then one additional shipment containing 6 more micro attenuators, mod reroll mats. That's beautiful as well. This is huge. The Chirotech salvage shipments are going up to 10 instead of 2. That's beautiful.
I would encourage with this because I think that's a good change. And so obviously the price is going up accordingly as well.
Sure.
But all of these pieces of gear that are only 2 pieces of them, like
make them 5.
Buy just 2 pieces. Make it 10.
5, 10, yeah, something like that. Yep.
Like some of these, especially some of the gear that is, like your Gear 12 stuff in particular, that is still kind of hard to get. Make it more. I don't care if the cost is high. That's fine. But at this point, like we need things to spend our currency on, and we don't have anything we can spend the currency on because the stupid store refreshes once a week.
Which I hate the store refreshing once a week, but if you're gonna make some changes, this is a good start. This is a good start.
So if they want to do, if they're totally stuck on the whole once a week refresh, fine. Yeah. But up all of these amounts to 10 or higher.
Yep.
So that we're actually able to spend this currency on things. And again, the change from 30 to 100 is going to help significantly with that. but I'd still rather have more and be able to spend my currency than keep having currency I'm not going to be able to spend. Because here's the thing, you even with that cap increasing to 100, you're still going to eventually hit the cap if you don't have things you can spend it on that are worthwhile. So if, again, you keep the 1 week cadence, fine, but increase the amount of what we're getting and the price of what, not the price, but you know what I mean.
The cost
accordingly. Yeah. The cost accordingly, so that we can spend more of that currency and not eventually hit a cap. Because again, the 100K increase is just going to prolong us hitting the cap. We're still going to ultimately hit the cap.
Sure.
With the way it's set up currently.
They're also replacing the character shards that are currently in there. They're replacing it with more current characters to assist with the episode gain. So you got your Bad Batch, you got Fulcrum, Saul Guerrera, Night Sister Zombie, and Ezra Bridger. So, I mean, if you're someone that needs those characters, not bad at all. The Bad Batch is definitely a big help for a lot of newer players there. That gets you a solid team of clones right there. Galactic challenged us. This was a change I did not see coming, but I am so glad that they did, because I think
you can tell I listened to the player base on this one.
100%. The complete the battle feat will return to Galactic challenges, and GCs will have 5 feats from now on instead of 4. Removing it was definitely something we misjudged, and we apologize to players who felt left out of GC content in the meantime. This was something that when they brought it out, I think we literally even had a meme last week about it.
Just the credit card information.
Yeah. It was, hey, get screwed if you don't pay. But if you do pay, enjoy. Yep. And that was something that was just, I was like, look, if they want to lock something else behind a paywall, fine, go for it, whatever. But you're locking something that is literally attainable by anybody. You're locking that behind a paywall. That is just cruel and abusive and greedy. And this is a massive change for it. Now, obviously, with them bringing 5 feats, they do say that they're going to all those changes that we discussed last week, I think, where they're going to change the amounts that were given by each. That's also now going to change, because that was catered to 4 feats a GC. Now there's 5 feats a GC. So that'll change a little bit. But again, that's not bad at all. That is a amazing change.
My one minor complaint with this, I just think it's lazy on their part, is the complete the battle with a recent marquee character at a set star level. Like, if you're going to make this a puzzle, then make that at least something that is not just blank having a certain star character. Make it so that the event basically requires that character, but that's not what's written. Like, just make it so that it's really difficult, if not impossible, to beat without that character at a star level. Like that they used to do that. It was just more of a faction based thing. Like, if you didn't have the Gungans when they were brand new, you couldn't beat it. And that's not really a great example, because they literally would just say Gungans. But like Luthen, they did one not too long ago where if you didn't have Luthen, you couldn't beat it. And that's more what I would like to see. They didn't say have Luthen in your team. They just made it so that if you didn't have Luthen, it was extremely, if not impossible, feat to obtain. Like, to me, this is just being lazy and just saying it has to be a certain star character. Make it, code it so that it requires that, but it's not just that blank statement. That's it. And again, that's fairly minor now that they've added back the original one, but I just think this is slightly lazy on their part. For sure. But I mean, overall, this is a very positive change. It sounds like CG actually listened to us. We had discussed this last week, I believe, with or our last Rogue Actions rather, where they're kind of front loading it. So basically what they mean by that is they're saying a free-to-play player who completes their available feats at any tier will now always earn more EP than when they had completed that same tier before. So that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. It's still going to essentially mean that you're going to hit the same mark as before. You're just going to hit it faster
and earn more EP up front now. But again, that's a beautiful change. But I think the big takeaways again were the shipment adjustments, the episode track changes and the quest changes, and then the huge adjustment is the Galactic Challenge feat and the fact that everybody can now partake in Galactic Challenges rather than just being locked behind a pass. That is huge. That is huge. So it's definitely a win for the player base.
The other thing that I just want to highlight in this, because I feel like I've been pretty negative, and this is a very, very, very positive thing that they're learning, and it's that statement of the Galactic Challenge adjustments. Removing it was definitely something we misjudged, and here's the key sentence: and we apologize to players who felt left out of Galactic Challenge content in the meantime. Like, just admit, we talked about this before, and how like the GL event thing, when they screwed that up and they just pretended like they didn't screw anything up and they can do whatever the hell they want to. This is a total change in tone.
Yep.
Like, yes, we screwed up. And we apologize for what we did. Like, this CG meathead, everybody, this is how you need to operate moving forward. This is what will keep the player base here. This is, you might actually get people to come back to the game that quit because of these changes and because you just admitted to your screw up and you apologize for it. They're like, I just can't say enough for, like, as a teacher, I try to teach kids all the time, don't get defensive over mistakes, and like, I admit to mistakes all the time. If I play a note wrong on the piano when we're trying to play through a song, it happens. I'm like, oh, my bad, sorry guys. You know, like, they notice that, they care about that's important to them. And as a player base, it'll be the same thing with CG. If they make a mistake and they do something that is bad, own it, admit it, fix it, move on. Like, just, gosh, this is such a good change in tone from them.
Absolutely. This is huge. This is a huge win for the player base. And it does, I think, show that CG does actually listen, or at least is learning to listen now.
Yes.
That's huge. And that speaks to the longevity that this company sees their game going, because if they literally just wanted this game to milk whatever cash they can before it dies, they wouldn't be doing stuff like this. They would just milk it. So this goes to show for everybody that's like, oh, Swiggo's gonna die. It's not gonna die. They are putting too much work and effort in to try to keep people here and make positive changes, even though at the end of the day, it's still a money-making machine, and the ultimate goal is to make money. That's the name of the game when you play a mobile game. Guys, let us know down in the comments below what you think about these changes. Are these positive changes? Did these affect you in any way? Are you someone who's free to play? Let us know. Love to hear from you about this change. Shawka, do you have anything else to add?
The only thing I will say, so I think there's been a lot of good movement on this. I think one of the other big complaints from the community across the board is the fact that content is being put out and it's broken and it's not being fixed. I hope now that they've got this out and they've kind of fine-tuned this, when we get back from their break in January and February, the things like fleet, the things like the scythe not working correctly, all of these bugs in the game that prevent the game from working correctly, CG, you need to fix that. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt because you've been working on this for a long time, but you got to address the content that you're putting out and it's just broken and not working. You can't keep putting out a broken game and expect people to be okay with that.
Fix Bane.
Yeah, that's another one. There's a ton of examples of things in the game not working, and they just flat out aren't fixing it.
Absolutely. I'm just impressed that you mentioned that site's not working.
I'm so mad at myself for saying it, but
all right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of Rogue Actions. Don't be afraid. We're gonna go over to Shawka's channel right now. So like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Link is in the description below. We'll see you over there. We got more topics to talk about over there. Until next time, Squadron dismissed.